So I'm out for a walk, trying to get Loki to fall asleep here. And I wanted to talk about homelessness for a bit because we bought a house a couple years ago, and it's the first time ever buying a house. Prior to that, we lived in an RV in someone's backyard that we rented, and prior to that, we lived in a minivan on the streets for several years. So I am no stranger to homelessness. And yes, sweetheart. And soon after we got our house, a homeless encampment, a tent city started up very close by. And it has since grown. It's become a citywide crisis. One of the most significant factors is that violent crime in the area immediately surrounding the tent city is up by a massive percentage. And we're having to walk this busy street instead of our usual routes because it's no longer safe to walk our usual routes. The other day, we were actually followed twice that I counted. And thankfully, with my situational awareness, I was able to avoid an encounter, but it was very concerning. So I wanted to talk about this because a really unfortunate thing happens when you're homeless is that people think, well, because you'll get blamed for it, I can misbehave around you. There's a friend of mine, and he was responsible for closing down the center after an event, so he would pick up trash and make sure everything was taken care of. He was very responsible. And yet, when I had him over to hang out in my van, I showed him that I was homeless, and we were just hanging out and getting to know each other and comparing stories and everything. And I thought he was a cool guy. He thought it was okay to litter in my van. He would literally just finish eating something and just throw the wrapper on the floor and laugh. That was his impression of a homeless person. That a homeless person just doesn't care. And I had a trash can in my van, and I would just look at him with this shocked expression and pick up his trash and put it in my trash can in the van, make sure he knew where it was. And the next time he had a piece of trash, he would again just throw it in the van and laugh. And it wasn't just my friends. It was people passing by. If they noticed that I was homeless, I would wake up in the morning and I would look outside, and there was trash all around my van. People knew that I would be blamed for it, and so that's where they littered. And it was really frustrating because I was a really responsible person, and so I would pick up their trash, and no one knew. So I share this because, yes, violent crime is up really significantly in the area that we're in, and yes, that is probably directly due to the homeless encampment. But this homeless encampment is massive, and there's a very small number of individuals who are doing this. And I know that because most people who are homeless just don't have the time to do violent crimes. That's not what they want. They just are trying to get by. They're just trying to survive. And I respect that. As scared as I feel, they also feel scared. And as concerned as I am with not being able to walk the routes that I want to walk, they are not able to find a place where they're allowed to exist right now. And as a homeowner who is suffering from this, I wanted to say that you have to look at things from their perspective. Yes, it's an inconvenience for you, but right now, as there's talk citywide of clearing the camp, there's people in the camp who are terrified. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to live? When is my existence okay? I just remember for myself, when we were living in the minivan, then we were trying to find places that people wouldn't report us just for existing there. Just on the side of the street, just for a few hours. And it was a constant struggle to try to stay under the radar, to try to make sure that people wouldn't be offended by the very fact that we exist. I know what that's like, and I'm not saying I have a good solution, but the sentiments that I am seeing from my neighbors and from the rest of the city really breaks my heart. And when the neighbors talk, I do let them know, hey, by the way, I was actually homeless, and I didn't do drugs, I didn't do crime, but I was homeless. And I was homeless because I had disabilities that were preventing me from being able to work. And the housing crisis meant that there weren't any solutions for me. I was told left and right that there's so many resources, but those resources are actually spread really thin when you're actually on the ground and actually needing them. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'm finally a homeowner. I finally have some stake in this, and I'm just saying, yes, it's uncomfortable for me. Yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, I really wish that this wasn't the case. But the fact of the matter is, it is the case, and these are real people we're dealing with, and we can't just keep pushing them to the side and saying, oh, what I really wish is you didn't exist, because that's really what they're saying. We wish that you all would disappear, and that's a horrible thing to wish on anyone. And that's what people wish for the homeless population. Go be homeless somewhere else. They don't have anywhere else to go. And, you know, I'm a lot less Christian than I used to be, but I've memorized large portions of the Bible, and that all stays with me. And there's this passage that says we're all part of the same body, and if one part is hurting, every other part hurts with it. And that really comes to mind in this situation, because I am hurting because someone else is hurting. This large homeless population is all people hurting, and because we are all part of the same whole, I can't just be fine living as their neighbor and not hurt as well. Try to understand and try to heal the hurt. Try to connect and see where we can help. And we try to help as much as we're able to. It is tricky because there is safety matters to consider. There's actually a time that we had someone over, and we heard her talking to herself in the middle of the night about whether or not to kill us. So we do have to be careful, especially now as we have our toddler in the house. We do have to consider safety. You know, we just try to help as much as we're able to do. And that's just really important, to help where you can. Everyone has a story, and we used to be there. We used to be right there. And a lot of people judged us for it and wanted to make sure that we had a plan to get out. And it's like, well, I've been trying for years, and they just don't know. So I just wanted to put that out there. Have some compassion, because you don't know someone's story.